On to our next story. The war in Sudan has taken to the skies, and civilians are directly underneath it. Drones are now reportedly striking residential areas in central Sudan, with children, women, and entire families among those killed from the air. Residents in and around Al-Obeid say drone strikes have intensified in recent weeks. Homes, hospitals, and even the city's power station have reportedly been bombed. Reports say more than 100 new graves have been dug in just 2 weeks. For now, the city remains under the Sudanese army control, but residents say Al-Obeid is under constant pressure from the paramilitary rapid support forces, who have been steadily tightening their grip.
We saw the drone destroying this building to the ground. When we came, we found the children under the rubble, under the iron, under the beds. Only God knows the state of the children. Bodies, they used to be living people, and they became dead bodies.
And this was not an isolated escalation. The UN reports that more than 100 civilians were killed by drone strikes across the Kordofan region in December alone. But one of the deadliest attacks happened in November. In the village of Al-Obeid near Al-Obeid, dozens of people had gathered for a funeral where a drone opened fire at a group of women and children.
The drone hit. This yard was full of women and children. Around 58 people died on the spot, and the rest were taken to be hospitalized in Al-Obeid. And the following morning, we were told 7 more from the injured died.
While residents and analysts trace a shift to drone warfare since October, that is when rapid support forces consolidated control across large parts of Darfur. Reports say the RSF then turned its focus east towards Kordofan. And drones became a key tool as ground forces moved into surrounding towns and villages. The RSF has not entered Al-Obeid itself, but from the air, the city is no longer out of reach. To put things into perspective, Al-Obeid is not just any city. It is the capital of North Kordofan and a strategic gateway between RSF-controlled Darfur and the army-controlled Eastern Sudan. Control here means owning the supply lines and opening a straight road to the capital, Khartoum. Analysts say that makes it a prize for both sides. As the air war intensifies, diplomatic efforts are underway. Reports suggest that Sudan's military is now considering a new humanitarian truce and ceasefire proposal from mediators in the United States and Saudi Arabia. The RSF has not publicly responded to the latest proposal. Just a day ago, the crisis was also raised at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Aid groups warn that famine and disease are now spreading far beyond the active front lines, including in Khartoum and Kordofan. They say basic services have collapsed and humanitarian access remains severely limited.
Of the available humanitarian assistance is nowhere where it's needed. If numbers that the number of 10 liters of water per day per person is available, far, far, far below what is needed for emergency level of requirement. Talking about medical support, certainly for mental health, reaches about only 16%.
And I want to address that it's not a civil war. It's two full men are fighting on power, and we are trying to solve it, but unfortunately it's with international support.
This tragic conflict began in April 2023. It started off as a power struggle between two former allies, the Sudanese armed forces led by Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and the rapid support forces led by Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo. The state collapsed during the civil war and civilians were left in the middle. Nearly 3 years on, more than 125,000 are reportedly dead. Nearly 21 million people face hunger on a daily basis, and over 12 million people have been forced out of their homes. The United Nations calls it the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. They say sexual violence is used as a weapon of war, and war crimes are being committed on a mass scale.
I met 9 women and girls, all of them survivors of sexual violence, and they told me horrific stories What they told me was about a gang rape in Al-Fashar. When they tried to flee, they told me about the men being taken out and killed in front of them, their brothers, their sons. Then some of them were taken, older women, younger women, taken away, sometimes held for ransom, and gang raped for days in some instances.
So, as Sudan's war rages on, drones are changing the nature of the conflict. Front lines are disappearing. The battlefield is now inside homes. Millions are trapped between two forces accused of widespread abuses. There's no clear end in sight.